I'm here to talk about the consequences or repercussions of pleading guilty or being found guilty to a first-time DUI. Clients come into my office and they're often very stressed and they're looking for answers. And one of the first questions they ask is, what am I facing here? So let's take a typical example of someone who provided a reading of 120 to say 150 milligrams of alcohol in 100 milliliters of blood, or was found guilty of impaired driving or pled guilty. In this situation, first of all, under our criminal code, they're facing a mandatory minimum, a fine of $1,000. That's the minimum. They're also facing a victim fine surcharge on top of that of 30%. A judge is required to take their license also for a minimum of 1 year. Now that can be up to 3 years. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years. That's often negotiable on your standard, first-time DUI. You can often achieve a 1 year. The ministry is also going to take your license for the same 1 year period. They have a concurrent program where they also take your license. But you're facing far bigger repercussions than that. You're facing the stigma of a criminal record, which could affect your employment and stigma in the community. You're also facing very serious increases in your insurance rates. There's been, if you go on websites, you'll find this could be in thousands of dollars over a number of years. So it's quite a penalty you're facing in this regard. Now, one of the things that the province has brought in, which is a benefit to you, is what's called Stream A Ignition Interlock. And this is what that means. Well, first of all, when you're first charged, you're going to lose your license for 90 days. That's a 90-day administrative license suspension. There's no negotiation for that. It's automatic. The police officer is going to take your license right away for 90 days. You're going to have a court appearance, say 6 weeks from that, and receive your disclosure. If you decide to plead guilty, you may want to take advantage or try to take advantage of what's called Stream A Ignition Interlock. That means from the date you plead guilty, if you plead guilty within 89 days of the time you were charged, then the government may allow you to drive with an ignition interlock on your vehicle. So what's going to happen is you plead guilty, say you plead guilty at day 77 after your charge. You plead guilty on that day, you're going to lose your license for another 90 days. And during that time period, you apply for Stream A Ignition Interlock. And what happens there is if you qualify, if you sign up for the Back on Track program, you qualify for Interlock with the Ministry of Transportation, they're going to allow you to put a device in your car for 9 months, so you can drive for 9 months. So let's have a quick recap. You lose your administrative license suspension for 90 days. If you plead guilty within that time period, a new suspension starts, which is a minimum of 1 year. Within 89 days, you have to apply and get the ignition, plead guilty, get your interlock on your car, but you're going to lose your license for another 90 days and then be able to drive with a device in your car that you provide a breath sample into. So there's a lot of repercussions. I mean, if you go on these websites, I've seen estimates as much as $20,000 to $25,000 that a DUI is going to cost you over the years, including, of course, excessive insurance rates. So it often pays, and it will pay, to consider retaining a lawyer, to negotiate the best possible outcome for you, because these things have to be negotiated. The fine amounts, whether a judge will allow you to apply for Stream A Ignition Interlock. So you really should consider retaining a lawyer to try and get the best outcome possible.